Many ancient Pokémon, or at least those that appear to have a similar makeup to man-made or artificial structures, have often received great press as examples of the lost abilities of ancient races, as per the ability to create Pokémon. Of course, many of these are fairly fanciful. Shuppet, Banette, Baltoy, and Claydol are all noted for their resemblance to old toys, and Bronzor and Bronzong to more mature possessions. Even Voltorb is suggested to have been man-made based only on its resemblance to a Pokeball, despite the clear evidence for natural selection enabling this resemblance through the example of Fungus. But none of these comes close to the excitement stirred up by a bizarre little walking automaton named Golett. Golett is a strange creature that appears to bear a similarity to the legendary golems, with some religious leaders suggesting that the great Regigigas may, after fashioning them from the earth, have taught its disciples the same art, or else fashioned these creatures itself, which recently gained momentum through the discovery of an ancient Regigigas tomb deep within Twist Mountain. However, there is little evidence to suggest any sort of deliberate creation on the part of the ancients. A more likely explanation has been put forward that suggests that the theoretical common ancestor of the possession ghost genus, Mansopiem, which includes Shuppet, Baltoy, and others of an ethereal disposition, adapted to possessing ancient, basic, clockwork automatons, which through merging have lost their inner components, but are now fully functional species. Golett's creation is shrouded in mystery, as evidence of the ancient civilization is very sparse, if there even was one. However, there are a few hypotheses as to what powers its system. Compared to the majority of other ghost types, Golett lacks Will-O-Wisp, so it is possible that the ghost type's fire-creating ability was somehow converted to its sole power source. Studies in the still emerging field of move engineering have revealed that Will-O-Wisp can manifest near Golett, but at an intensity much lower than the actual move. However, this does not account for a ghost that was able to fuse with automations, or how a ground typing was infused. Another possibility is that Golett's ghost typing is actually different than the rest. Golett doesn't have the typical ghost-like appearance, but it can still phase through objects and attacks. It is possible that the ancient civilization discovered some kind of rare material with organic elements that allow for animation. A spectroscopy of a piece of Golett's body revealed a dynamic bond structure that could account for the ability to move through things. This explains why we haven't found or are able to make our own Golett. The organic matter would have decomposed or simply fallen apart without a source of power. Initial research into the origins of Dragon Spiral Tower was focused on architecture and the culture that created this pillar to the dragons. This soon changed when Golett acted as a very invasive security force, proving that the old ways remain just as solid, with the result of several scientists being at severe risk of receiving multiple bruises. Seeing the opportunity, much of their attention was afterwards directed towards their would-be attackers, hoping to learn more about the ruined civilization through that approach. The insignia on its chest appears to be a method of ancient programming which dictates the behavior of the individual Golett. From studying the behavior of these clay security guards, anthropologists have also determined much about the culture that Golett came from. With the abilities of Iron First and Klutz, this ancient civilization was one that valued the strength of the individual without the use of held weapons in battle. This does help explain Golett's primary strategy of punching everything to death. Current theories suggest that this ancient culture, while advanced, were so repelled by the use of items that they ended up with a crushing disadvantage against invading forces, whose blunt weaponry showed little weakness against bare-handed combat. The population of Golett in Unova has remained at a constant level throughout the ages, where Dragon Spiral Tower is their preferred habitat and nesting grounds. With the increase of activity in that area during the last years, a sheer majority of them have evolved into Galurk, perhaps as a defense mechanism since the group as a whole appear to protect the location from serious harm. A few individuals have even traveled to the caves preceding the Victory Road, where the ancient structures and buildings in the vicinity could share a close connection to the tower outside of Osiris City. While the theory of Golett being a possessed piece of antique machinery is gaining more favor within the scientific society, one has yet to discover or isolate such a being which, upon merging with inanimate objects, can create new life forms. The energy which powers Golett and its robotic final stage has yet to be identified through conventional means, except that it so far reveals a close likeliness to that of ghost types. Much like our old technology such as cassette tapes and vinyl records, Golett has shown a surprising endurance over the vast period it has been deemed to exist, where those who faint from exhaustion are shortly rebooted from their short hibernation. It's a pity that the desolate ruins of their lost civilization provide few clues about the origin of these creatures. All we can do is to establish that they're still working,